Update: would I be the butthole for reporting a coworker for feeding me? Original. Further detail: honestly, I've never more immediately regretted something. This exploded spectacularly. I went to HR, saying that the matter was settled, but I wanted it documented. Subsequently was told that there would be an investigation and the incidents would be corroborated with witnesses, because as is the full record I claim is severe enough to warrant potential action for they and several other coworkers who also engaged in her behavior. HR started the process, apparently immediately, because I walked in yesterday to a crapstorm. This plunged the department into civil war. Many agree Peg was out of line, some told me I should have kept the status quo, some said I was ungrateful and entitled. One said I should have handled this maturely and who could blame her when I look like that, and I should be ashamed of myself. Another coworker suggested I work from home. Another told me he was sorry for not stepping in. I went to go get my lunch out of the fridge only to find someone had disposed of it and left behind the empty Tupperware. Nearly everyone has an opinion. The people in my corner have advised me to keep my head down and to take care. My boss held a meeting, first with Peg and me, then a second with just me. During the one with Peg, I was told to apologize for my part and Peg likewise. I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable by caring about your health. My boss asked if I was satisfied now. I brought up Peg's comments and my boss said I invited them, no one would call that harassment, and I need to work on myself. Together we went through each of the 23 events. She excused each of them until I was left to feel like I'd been harassing Peg. The next meeting was even worse. Effectively, boss said, I told you not to retaliate and instead you search Peg out to harass her and your actions have expressed a worrying lack of cooperation with me and your team. She was also disappointed that instead of explaining that I needed her to resolve things, I escalated the situation well beyond the point of reason and cruel to someone who only wanted to help. She said I won't get far in life and I'm not likely to get anywhere vocationally if I can't be a team player and actively sabotage a happy workplace. She hoped I will learn from this teachable moment how to behave in a collaborative environment as it's inappropriate to involve HR for small misunderstandings. Boyfriend is spitting mad. I'm just tired, confused and hurt. HR seems sympathetic. Boss is very clearly on Peg's side. The office is split and tense. Currently updating my resume and job searching. It really does feel like a nightmare. Haven't felt good going into work for a while, and this just made it times worse. Web link. Go see an employment attorney. They are creating a hostile workplace. And put out your resume. This place is toxic. Edit. Thanks for all of the awards. This is a lawyer's wet dream case too. It will be so easy to legally eviscerate them. It won't be hard to find a lawyer who jumps at this opportunity. Right, isn't this all of the workplace retaliating? This isn't quite the same thing as a whistleblower, but I'm pretty sure that people who file legitimate complaints have protection from retaliation, at least in the US. Exactly this. You went to HR with a harassment issue and now your boss is using that to threaten direct consequences to your potential within the company. Please seek legal counsel. This is super bad. Edited to add, OMG to the details post original post posted. This is so beyond harassment. This woman is unhinged. This sub has the advice all the time that HR is not there to protect you, they exist to protect the company. In this case I am excited to cite this as it actually means good news for OP. HR has clearly not done enough to resolve the issue in a manner that protects the company because everyone in the office has been made aware and is now openly discussing your HR complaint. Your boss is out of line and was not properly informed by HR what to do or not do in this case. Given the apparent level of knowledge everyone has about your issue, it seems like someone in HR might even be on Peg's side. If HR is more than 2 or 3 people, I'm betting the boss is dictating the investigation, which is proper, but one of the lower people is not handling it right or talking to Peg/coworkers about details that are private to the investigation. This is Management Training 101, you do not retaliate on HR claims. The fact that the boss sat them down and tried to make original post apologize is beyond stupid and going to cost the company, rightfully. Lawyer up. Not even that. But everyone who does mediation knows that first you sit them down individually and give them a chance to explain their situation first. You never go straight to the let's talk as a group thing because all it does is give the instigator another chance to manipulate the situation, and it is deeply intimidating to the person being harassed. The boss effed up big time. Quite often HR will provide the advice that is in the best interests of the business and the employees. It is up to the manager on what they do with that advice. Too often I have seen a manager take my advice and completely screw up a situation. Note, I work in HR. That could be it as well, but the quotes from the manager do not sound like she doesn't understand HR's advice and more like she's siding with Peg, or at least blaming the office politics shake-up on Op. Edit, wrong pronoun. Note, I work in HR. Where is my pitchfork? I know from experience personally. My entire department, years ago, filed complaints with the manager of our department complaining about the toxic work environment that was being fostered by our direct supervisor, the manager's immediate inferior. After little to no engagement with us, either as a group or individually, we all collectively spoke with HR to no avail. Not only did we receive no results, resolutions, etc., but our supervisor in question was promoted. We went directly under the management we complained to initially, and whether or not they want to admit it, our pay was affected for years through unfounded mediocre performance reviews, despite documentation showing otherwise through reporting, metrics, etc., and even some demotions. It's toxic, and the longer you allow it to continue, the more they will try to, and eventually end up getting away with. And is seeking out help from the department whose job it is to help. He's been exposed to more harassment. That is never okay. This never should have been known by all your coworkers. Seems to me Peg out there gossiping. Also harassment and hostile work environment. HR issues are supposed to be confidential and privy information. Also, original post now needs to report his boss to HR, who is clearly violating policy. I know getting legal counsel is a hassle, but a good reputable employment attorney will take your case on a contingency basis. HR is there to protect the company, not the employees. Most of the time, protecting employees is in the best interest of the company. For example, protecting original post means that he will not go to a lawyer and get nice fat settlement from the company, thus protecting the company. Simply going off of HR's reaction, the company effed up. Oh yeah, they majorly screwed up. Ops shouldn't even settle. Settlement would be less than they sue for, and with this kind of incident the judge is highly likely to add punitive damages. It's a concerted effort by the entire workplace when their own HR has admitted Peg should be fired. They're effed if original post can prove even a fraction of what happened. And someone dumping Ops lunch? That made my effing blood boil. If they're so concerned about his health and low weight, they'd not have deprived him of effing food. This is harassment, bullying, vicious behavior, and I feel so sorry for original post having to deal with this gaslighting bullcrap from his boss on top of it all. Ugh. It was never about helping, just skinny shaming. Sprinkled with homophobia and ableism. Not sure where original post is located, but in a lot of states, talking about someone's weight is sexual harassment. Not a plaintiff's attorney, but in CA this case would probably get a massive settlement. Especially the stuff about how could Ops' boyfriend want him like that, that's sexual harassment city. Like I said, not my field, but if he is in CA, I could probably find 5 attorneys who would go rabid for this case. I'm so late to this party but had to jump in because the more I read, the angrier I'm getting. You're 100% right, that comment was sexual harassment. If the genders were switched around, this would be a huge problem before the BF comment even happened. It's really disgusting to me that Ops manager and coworker are more than likely going to emerge unscathed, when this is a clear case of sexual harassment and sexual discrimination. Manager is also victim blaming and possibly gaslighting Op. There is so much wrong here I just can't even. Can confirm. I worked for the Equal Opportunity Office with a CA state agency. This crap would never have been tolerated and that supervisor would have been put in suspension for the retaliatory actions. Op needs a lawyer in their union, if they are part of one. This crap has to stop. I was supremely mad at whomever threw away his lunch. Like, yeah, that'll show that skinny mother effer that we like them big and fat around here, so, we throw away the food he was going to eat to get big and strong. We did it, guys. I think it was the kind of control issue like when someone destroys something because they don't want someone else to have it. They were probably thinking you don't want to eat what you're given, then don't eat at all. Pettiness and control. Yes, this. Your boss is retaliating against you for bringing a harassment issue to HR, an issue she dismissed. This is unacceptable workplace behavior, and the meeting where she berated you in front of the person who harassed and disparaged you was completely inappropriate. Report her and her response to HR. You can use your post here as contemporaneous documentation of the events. This. Please this. Your boss's reaction is based on her trying to cover her ass. She will twist this to meet her needs. She is trying to control the narrative so she keeps her job. Your boss is retaliating, which is illegal, and is actively creating a hostile workplace. Please report her to HR ASAP. I would bet money the meeting she called with you weren't sanctioned by HR. Your boss's job is to keep a smoothly run department, and instead she's taking sides and making your work life hell. Edit. After reading other comments in the thread, I want to add getting a lawyer, and documenting everything, in addition to going to HR, would be a good idea. HR exists to protect the employer. Lawyer first. Report to HR and speak to a lawyer is the right move. I'm sure the lawyer would be very interested in the potential settlement for this harassment/now discrimination case. Report every single negative comment made to you by coworkers and advise HR that you are dissatisfied with the way this was handled, as the entire office is aware of it. You are now suffers more harassment because of how they handled this, which is unacceptable. This because then they can't pretend like they weren't aware. When my wife used to work in employment law firm as a lawyer, the first question that gets asked is, did you report it to HR as a first step? Probably so there is a paper trail and they can't just claim that no one knew. Yeah, it's part of the paperwork to submit. Really, it's because a company has to be made aware and have an opportunity to fix it. The no one knew is a valid defense. You can't report it and expect it to be fixed in an hour either. Every single thing you wrote in this needs to be reported to HR and documented. And you need to tell them you are consulting a lawyer. This crap show is entirely your manager's fault and you need to be protected here. There is literally no gray area here. You've done nothing wrong and HR needs to know that your manager is seeing the department on fire over this. I would not let them know the op is considering hiring a lawyer. HR's job is to protect the company. As soon as the threat of legal action gets raised, HR's job is to protect the company, not the employee. Op should continue to work with HR while documenting everything for their potential lawsuit against the company. I agree with this course of action. Note, not a lawyer. But have had an unfortunate amount of experience in this arena. Clarity and excruciating detail is important here. Document every interaction with boss and with conflicting parties. Document all actions done as part of daily work, i.e., prove that you are doing your job as you are supposed to. In documentation, include only objective observations. The one exception is that you should document how you felt at the time of any conflict. Last, make sure to timestamp your notes. If you have Office 365, you can open a Word or Excel document and save it to OneDrive, Teams, or SharePoint, which will automatically store a change log, meaning that you will have indisputable proof that you wrote the things you wrote when you say you wrote them. Contemporaneous notes are extremely valuable in any he said/she said matter. I'm happy to defer to someone with more experience on that point. My comment was a little circular, so let me expand on what I meant. By raising the complaint with HR, HR is tasked with protecting the company by investigating and correcting any and all employees' involved behavior. Ops interests can be protected here. Once outside legal resources are brought in, HR's job becomes more of protect the company by demonstrating that they did everything they could to resolve the situation. Ops interests are irrelevant here. If HR started an investigation, they would have wanted to be in those meetings with your boss. No competent HR manager would have slowed those meetings without being present at this point. So they probably don't know about those 2 meetings. HR is right to want to investigate this, and your BF is right to be livid. This is so far outside the realm of reasonable or appropriate behavior on the part of Peg and your boss that I am astounded. They have no business blaming you for Peg's behavior. If they can't respect personal boundaries, they have no business working in healthcare. They can report to HR, but I don't know how helpful they'll actually be. HR is really there to protect the company. Look at how badly they handled the situation. Original Post didn't want to escalate it, they just wanted what was going on to be on company record. Against ops' wishes, HR did an investigation which caused more problems. At this point, the company has shown what kind of narrative they want. The boss and Peg are the victims just trying to help. They're vindictive and pressing up. They need to get out of that job ASAP. HR doesn't appear to have been involved in this except to notify his manager, who has escalated this to the point of retaliation. Skip HR. If you're in the US, talk to a lawyer or report it to the EEOC. Peg and your boss are creating a hostile work environment over something that is entirely not your fault. Do not talk to HR anymore. HR is there to protect the company, not the employee. The only person that Original Post should be talking to going forward is a lawyer. HR is supposed to protect the company and any employee that is subject to harassment at work. This whole situation has set the company up for a huge liability, so of course HR should be involved as heads will roll and not ops. Let's see how much the boss lectures Original Post when there's a lawsuit involved. I'm all for avoiding lawyers until something BS retribution comes about from a legitimate, polite, mature complaint, like the one Original Post lodged. I'm sure the boss will be all crocodile tears and apologies once HR reams her out. Thank you for watching. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube. And share them with your friends. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. We welcome your comments below. Another of our videos will begin shortly.